Hello, 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 everyone. I wanted to come by and share a little information, hoping that I can inspire and motivate some people to make a step towards their happiness. The first thing I want to talk about is why I'm here. Why I'm here in Florida. Why am I here and not back with my house in Baltimore? Well, the reason why I'm here goes back a little bit. Well, for one, I've been a city girl all of my life, born and raised in the city of Philadelphia. I left, with the military and ended up coming back to the Philadelphia, the East Coast area, Baltimore, DC. That's where I'm from, the East Coast. And although that's where I'm from, my heart has never been there. I think because when I was a child in elementary school, my father's mother would take us to her beach house in Mystic Island, New Jersey. It's in Egg Harbor near Atlantic City. And she built this house so she can enjoy her retirement with her husband. It's a beautiful home. It was a property where she had her boat at a dock right outside in the backyard, and she could just go down and the boat was there, and you can go out and you'll see Atlantic City. And I enjoyed that moment. I saw the possibilities of enjoying your life. She came from the city of Philadelphia, and she was the example of living the life that you want. So, in visiting Tampa about a year ago in March, that was the first time I came to Florida, and I came down here to see one of my colleagues from work that has retired, and she sold me on Tampa. It was beautiful, the food, the culture, the diversity, everything that I ever wanted to experience was here. The beach wasn't far. The palm trees and the beaches, they just delight me. And in leaving, I knew that I was coming back. So I wanted to be near the beach life. And that was something that I grew up on. And being in California, when I was active duty, my first active duty station, I enjoyed the beaches there. And I wanted to be a part of that life when I retired. I also wanted to have the freedom to travel. I've traveled throughout our great US of A for job related reasons and never really stopped to enjoy the moments or the environment that I was in to its fullest. Because when you work, there are time restraints. And that's why I went out to go get my RV. I got my RV in March. I drove from Baltimore with my dog and my cat and my little Ford Edge 2018 and drove from Baltimore to Idaho. It took me 11 days. And in coming back, I was a little apprehensive because at that point I had already moved out of my 5-bedroom, 3.5 bath, 2-car detached garage and a quarter of an acre of land in Baltimore City. And the taxes went up as in January. And I refused to stay any longer because the idea that I had to develop a transitional home was no longer where my heart was at. Although I did help transition a lot of people in my home in those 2 years, with everything that was going on with the killings and the taxes, I could not bear it anymore. I refused to be in a place that I did not want to thrive or be in. So I took the chance, took all my things out of my home. Then I went to go get the RV, came back, and had to make a plan on how I was going to leave the city. Where was I going? And I knew eventually I was going to get to Florida. Come here and do what? Go where? With who? Those were all those questions that were pondering my mind. But I knew that it was destined to happen, and it was something that God had put inside of me to go explore. I was afraid. I went through a lot of trauma with the with my car. I totaled my car. I was in the wrong. Could have killed someone going through a red light because I wasn't concentrating on the road. I was like in a tunnel vision, as if I was on a highway coming back home. Like, there was, when you get on the highway, it's almost like a tunnel vision. And I went into a tunnel vision. I wasn't paying attention to my surroundings. Went through the light. I hit someone. That's the first time I've ever been in an accident that it was my fault. Thank God that no one was really hurt. There was no blood, no broken skin or bones. It was just broken metal. And I was very shocked. It was like a moment of reality for me, that car accident. And even, the transition from that car accident, being with, a friend, and their situation affected my situation, and my situation affected their situation. And it was a very emotional, traumatic situation. And I was very emotionally overwhelmed. And my animals, like my dog and cat, was in the car as well. And they didn't get hurt, thank God. But Rocco, being a senior dog, was suffering through a lot of arthritis. And I know that he was struggling to accommodate me, and that he was in his last moments. I was hoping that, I can be there with him during that time, but I couldn't. In my RV, it takes a lot to get in and out of it just for one person, but to have a large dog helping him get in and out, because he couldn't jump up, he couldn't jump down. So me lifting him to get in the RV, to get in, his bunk bed, and getting in the truck, which was higher. It was a lot on my back. It was a lot on his shoulders, and it was a lot of pain for both of us. And I definitely didn't want my buddy to suffer. So I did, I had planned to surrender him, and I had planned to surrender the cat, and knowing that they would get a good home, taking them back to the Humane Society. And in surrendering Rocco was very traumatic for me and very emotional, because me and Rocco had at least 9 years together, and he's been everywhere with me. And once I surrendered him, fortunately, one of the volunteers fell in love with him and took him home with his family and his dogs, and Rocco settled in very well. But at that point, his arthritis had taken the best of him, and they had to put him to sleep because his pain was intolerable. And it broke my heart, but I'm glad it happened that way, because if I had to surrender him in that type of circumstances, I think it would have been much harder for me to deal with. But I was able to retrieve Rocco's ashes, which brought a lot of comfort to me, because my baby is still here. He's still traveling with me. And that meant a lot to me. My cat, well, he was a stray, and he was crazy and wild. So during the time I was with him, I was able to tame him to a point where he was not as aggressive as he was. And I'm sure he's spending a great time in someone's house killing all those mice. But I do miss my dog, and I will end up getting another dog at some point. But that was very traumatic as well. And then to accept that I'm Making this transition solo was also very difficult. So once I did leave solo, I had to break ties with friends and family, some forever and some for the moment. And I'm good with that because I know that relationships are, all of them are not forever. As I've learned from my friend, they're for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And I'm good with that. Every relationship I cherish, they were very meaningful to me. And I love each and every person that played a part in my life. And it was all a learning experience. I also wanted to prepare to find my new life. I know that I don't want to retire in the city. I don't want to retire in the cold. I came to Tampa, to be here close to my colleague, but it may not be Tampa that I'm going to stay in. It may be another part of Florida that's going to be more accommodating to me. I don't know. But in order for me to find out, I had to leave. And that's why I'm here, to explore a new opportunity of life for me. Being solo is very emotional for me because I had to separate myself again from family and friends and a familiar environment. Every day I ask myself, what are you doing? Why are you here? I cried for several months every day. Every day. I think I really stopped crying is when I got here initially in Patrick Air Force Base, which was June 3rd, I believe, of this year. And that would be about 2 months from now. Yeah, going into 3 months. That's 2 months from now. Previously, I was crying every day, asking myself, why am I here? What am I doing? What am I thinking? I mean, it was a financial hardship because the majority of my income, which is a set income from being retired and disabled from the military, is a set income. I'm going to say more than half of my finances was going into the upkeep of my home, and that's including the utilities, the mortgage, and the insurance and the taxes. So all of that was going into my home. And one of my best friends, she's like, why don't you just go back to your house in Baltimore? That's where your money's going. Why? Because it doesn't make me happy. I'm willing to make the sacrifice to go where makes me happy. In order for me to move forward into the life that I want and I dream and I vision of, I had to make the financial sacrifice to get on the road by myself and make a way. And that's exactly what I did. So with my RV and its insurances, with my car and just renting a lot for my RV, it's not that expensive. And I was still living a little bit above my means. And yes, I did use my credit cards that I didn't want to use. But I knew that I was going to give myself a time limit. I'm going to flip my notes over. So in order to do that, I really had to think about how I was going to manage my life with that income that was split more than halfway. Because there's still other bills and credit cards and debts and loans that I have to pay. So it's not like I have that extra money to go splurge and go spend. But in order for me to move forward, I had to have a vision of what I wanted within 6 months. Now the why, again, is because I wanted a better life. I wanted to live the beach life. I wanted to go back into the memories of the life that I lived when I was a kid on the beach. So I wanted the beach, and I wanted the palm trees, and I wanted the heat, and I wanted the love of the sun and the clouds. I mean, I love the heat. So that's why I'm here, to live my life the way I want to live it. Now, the vision was really important because I had to have a vision of what I wanted. And the vision has not really taken place. It's still in progress. I had to do the research to find out exactly where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do, and where I wanted to find my forever home. and that's still in progress. It feels like this journey has been longer than my start in March. So it's been about 6 months since I've bought my got my RV from Idaho back over to the East Coast. But it feels like it's been so long. Um, I feel like it's been more than 6 months, and just to look back at my pictures, it seems like it was so long ago, but it wasn't. And doing the research, is also a lot of work. Doing the research on where I want to go, where's going to be the safest place when it comes to hurricanes, what is the best community for someone like me to retire and be able to still have all the accommodations that I would dream of. Now, I may not be on a beachside front because it costs a lot of money to be on the beach out here, but having access to it is really important, or at least a close distance to the beach whenever I want to get there. And beautiful beaches that have clear water and white sands and palm trees. Like I said, that just turns me on. That just makes me so happy. And even if I don't live in a place that I have, the white sands and waters, but at one point I will. May not be here in Tampa, but I am going to have a beachfront property. That is my vision. But I'm willing to settle for a lake, lakeside property. I do want a boat. I want those things that I can enjoy and that I can be happy with. It's not really a lot of stuff that I want. It's just a lot of location that I want. And doing the research is really important. And it takes time. It takes hours of dedication, talking to people, of course, internet researches and videos on YouTube and Facebook, and getting on different groups that you can share experiences with. It takes a lot. Then creating the plan on how to pursue that goal. Now that 6 months have passed, I told myself I was going to give myself 6 months, and then I was going to start working. Well, I started working about a month ago, and I started working a full-time job on a government installation, and I worked for about 3 weeks, and I just put my letter of resignation in because I realized that I don't need to be working harder than I did when I was active duty for less money. I am retired. I should not be going home stressed. Whatever employment I get, it should be fun. It should be on my own time, and I should be able to really benefit from it. And because I wasn't, unfortunately or fortunately, I had to put my resignation in. So I'm back to retirement. And also, the reason why I was able to do that without hesitation is because it took 6 months for me to actually get a tenant in my home in Baltimore. And finding the right tenant for my home was difficult. I wanted to, first, yes, the idea was to sell it, but I wasn't getting candidates that were able to afford it. So we had to go to renting, and then the option to rent to own. And I was patient in God's decision, and I prayed for it, and my realtor prayed for it, and she was trying to find the right candidate. And she's a really dynamic person. She does a great job, and we have a great relationship, and she knows what I want and my expectations, and we're on the same level, and she thinks like I do. So I really didn't have a problem waiting for the right person. I had an opportunity to talk to the tenant, and she's a great candidate. I'm willing to support her. Just on the phone, I feel like she's like a little sister to me, and I'm willing to support her in this endeavor because this will be her first home that she's going to purchase. And I want to be there to support her. Whether she buys it or not is irrelevant, but I do want to support her in the decision making to purchase her first home and to even move into this house. She'll be able to accommodate her daughters and accommodate herself in a place where she's able to study and, raise her family in a great home, in a very good little neighborhood. That block is really nice, and they will look out for her. Um, so now that I have a tenant in the house, my finances are a little bit more flexible, and it's not necessary for me to work, but I want to work because I don't want to use the money that the income that's coming in. And that's a part of the plan. Like, I live very frugally, and living in this tiny RV, which is 17 feet, um, I was claustrophobic for a minute, but I got used to my little tiny house, and I am enjoying living in it, and it accommodates me. It gives me what I need. It's small, where I can tow it anywhere I want to, and it's not going to cause me any problems. It's not going to take up a lot of space. So all those things worked out very well. I don't think I want to stay here much longer, because I do miss spreading out. I do miss my bed, and I do miss a dining room table where I can sit and relax and drink my coffee and read and do my artwork and have my gym, and all the things that I'm used to having is really important to me. So I'm willing to sacrifice it here in this RV as I plan and prepare for the next step. And these are the sacrifices that may have to be taken when you're making your plan of action. So find your why, and then then start visualizing it. Like, to visualize where you want to be and the person you want to be is really important in order for you to move forward in your plan. So let me just iterate that. Is that you have to have your why, then you have to have your vision, then you have to do the research, and you have to plan, and you have to prepare, and you have to pray. Like, a lot of praying was really important to have this relationship with the Creator, to making sure I am going in the way that He would want me to go, and to do the things that He wants me to do, because at this age I don't want to make any mistakes. I can't make mistakes and think it's going to be easy getting out of them. Like my aunt say, you ain't no spring chicken, right? So I might look young, and I might think young and be young, but I definitely don't want to start all over again because of mistakes that I've made. So even the financial situation that I'm in, it's bearable. It's bearable. I didn't overextend myself to the point where I can't get out of it. So I know my limitations. I know what I need to do to get in a better place financially. It's not going to take long. It's just discipline, and knowing that I'm not a person who's going to buy unnecessary things. I eat like a bird anyway. So, and plus, pescatarian. I only eat fish and seafood, fruits and vegetables, and that definitely saves on my bill as well. It makes me stronger. I have more energy. I keep my weight down. My mind is clear, and I'm pretty fit, so I'm strong, and I'm trying to stay strong and try to prevent myself from hurting myself. I do have aches and pains. I have to be aware and acknowledge that I do have arthritis, and there's certain things that I should not be doing or overextending myself, and knowing to rest when I need to rest. These things are very important. And yes, I was scared through the whole thing. I was afraid because I didn't know what to expect, but I did it, and did it scared. Like, one of my colleagues at work, she told me that, do it and do it scared. And that's when she told me I was talking to her about purchasing my home. I was afraid to, go forward in it. And that was one of the biggest decisions I've ever made in my life. And leaving my home was the biggest decision I've ever made in my life. To leave my husband was the biggest decision I ever made in my life. It's always the biggest when you're doing it. And those decisions aren't big anymore. They're done. They're over. They weren't as hard as I thought they were going to be, because I believed in myself. And when you believe in yourself, it's kind of hard to fail. It's hard to fail. You believe in God and believe in yourself. Even when no one else believes you, even when people tell you you can't do it, or you shouldn't do it, or you're crazy and it don't make no sense, don't listen to them. Do what's in your heart. Do what makes you happy. Do what is going to advance you to the next level. That's the most important thing. So do it, and do it scared, And you'll realize as you're doing it, it's not as scary as you thought. And you will build so much courage, and you will have so much confidence in yourself. So I'm able to do these things because I'm confident in myself. I'm confident that I'm not going to let myself down. I'm going to be here for myself tomorrow. I was here for myself yesterday. I was here for myself the day before, the year before. Like, I'm going to always be here for me when no one else is. And most times you're going to be walking this path by yourself, because most people are going to think you're out of your mind, or think that you can't do it, or tell you that you can't do it. And it's not because most times it's not because they're trying to discourage you. It's because they don't want to see you hurt or disappointed. And it's okay if you didn't make it through the first plan. Dust yourself off, take a break, reevaluate, and then go for it again. Learn from that mistake and strategically plan again to do it right. There is not a manual on how to live life. There is not a manual on how to be happy. Now, if you want a manual on anything, you can read your Holy Scripture, you can read the Bible, you can read the Quran, the Torah. Those are words that can tell you that God is going to be there for you. He is on your side 100%. You there for him, he's there for you. And you need to be there for yourself. That's the most important thing. Be there for yourself. Show up for yourself every day. Make sure that you're accomplishing a step every day to get further in your goal. There'll be moments when you'll get tired. Yes, there'll be moments when you get discouraged. There'll be moments when you just want to give up and just go back to where it was comfortable. You know, people want to stay comfortable. And most people who stay comfortable stay where they are. They're wondering what it could have been if they had went out their comfort zone and doing what they really wanted to do. Listen, that is not the place you want to be on if you were to live and lay on your deathbed in your last days regretting what you didn't do. Just do it. Do it. All you can say is you did it. You tried to do it. Don't say you tried. I tried to do it. No, just go do it. Make it happen. If it's not for you, at least you can say you made it happen. It didn't work. Now I know what I really want. Because you won't know until you do it. You can't live through anybody else's life or anyone else's eyes. You have to experience it for yourself. And that's what I'm doing here. That's why I'm here, is because I want to experience this life for myself. I want to do what makes me happy. I've been all over this country. I've been across the globe several times. And I do want to go back and enjoy my life. I spent time in the military, and I needed to retire so I can take advantage of the benefits and opportunities that I fought for this country for. I didn't want to leave out of the military with nothing. Some people made it for 4 years and wish they would have stayed. I wish I stayed, and I wish I could have done other things with the money that I had. I wish I would have invested somewhere else. I wish I had a bigger financial portfolio. I wish a whole lot of things. But now I have the opportunity to do it. I have the leverage to do it. I just have to make sure I care for myself enough that I can prepare for those things. And just because I'm 57 and I did it, if you're listening now, you can do it while you're young. You definitely have the best opportunity to do it while you're young. Do it while you're young, so that way you can figure out where you want to be when you're my age. I didn't have an opportunity to plan about what I wanted to be when I was 57. I was too busy working, and by the time it was time for me to retire, then it was time for me to plan. So that's not where I want to advise anyone to do. If you're in your 20s, 30s, teens, whatever, start planning it right now. So you don't have to wait until retirement. You can start doing it now. You can start investing now. Invest in your future now. Start traveling now. Start doing those things now. So when you're my age, you don't have to be figuring it out. And even in me figuring it out, I'm enjoying this moment. Not everyone can enjoy the moment of trying to figure out what they're going to do when they retire. A lot of people retire and don't do nothing. They're home watching TV, eating, getting fat, uh, getting diabetes, depressed, on meds, um, you know, not taking care of themselves. Or some people are living their best life. Some people retire and they die very shortly and never even enjoy the benefits that they have. They don't enjoy their pension. They don't enjoy their social security. They don't enjoy their health. So listen, don't wait until you get older, because you might not make it until you get older, right? So live your best life right now. Plan right now what you want. Whatever you think is going to make you happy, go for it. Go for it right now. Right now. I want you to stop what you're doing right now and start thinking about what's going to make you happy. Why is it going to make you happy? And what are you going to do about it? Start today. And I hope this video can encourage someone, because there's more to come. There's so many reasons why you need to do this for yourself. For yourself, for your kids, for your family. Be the example. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing too, is because my grandmother wasn't able to live a life of traveling and being independent, living her dream. She died when she was at the prime of her senior life. You know what I'm saying? Her prime of her senior life, she should have been traveling and enjoying herself. She didn't have that opportunity. The last word she said is she wanted peace. You know what? And I'm glad that I can have peace right now for her. This butterfly represents my grandmother, flying in peace. All this cocoon that she came out of, and she wanted to fly. She wore butterflies all the time. So she was so busy trying to get out that cocoon, she never was able to fly and find her peace. Well, I'm going to live it for her now. I'm at peace, and I love it. And I love my struggle. I love my endeavors. I love this dream. I love this journey that I'm going on. And I want you to start figuring out what your journey is. Go on it. And sometimes you might have to go alone. And sometimes that might be the best thing, because you have no one to hold you back or discourage you from doing what you really want to do. And if you have a teammate that supports you, that's even better. So you have someone to share it with. So enjoy your life. Do your best. And tell me, jot it down in the comments. What is it that you want, and why? And what are you going to do about it right now? Peace.